Hi there, welcome to the Broken News, the cafe-style news program where non-professionals talk about the news in non-professional ways, and we just try to get through what's going on. I'm your host, Ed Cavett. I'm an artist, and I am deeply affected by politics and the economy because that's how I do well. If the economy's doing well, I do well. If the economy's doing poor, I'm doing poor. So I just like to talk about it to get it off my chest, and if you want to hear what I have to say, my take on things, I welcome you to join me here. It's October 8th in the 7th level of hell, which is the year of our Lord 2020. So what's in the news today? Well, we're going to look at our economy and how it's slowly dying, and Trump may have just pulled the plug on it as a means of extortion for the upcoming election. Not entirely comfortable with that, so we'll talk about that in depth. We're also going to talk about what kind of shaped economy we're going to have for the holidays. I'm sure we've all come up with letters that fit in to our particular circumstance. And with Trump having the COVID and that, should he be driving right now? So we're going to look at that and a couple of other things. So Trump said that the economy is doing great and unemployment is coming down and this, that, and the other. So let's just take a look at things. So this is the, let me see if I can back it up. So you know we ain't professionals here, right? Let me grab a hold of this. I believe is the New York Stock Exchange. Yes. New York Stock Exchange. This is for the days leading up to the president's announcement that he has COVID. No surprise. The only thing that surprised me about that is that it took so long. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it took so long. So here's the days leading up to. We can see it's just a bunch of crap, right? We have the little guys here. You see these little hiccups? See these hiccups here? That's the little guys losing. Every time these guys lose, the big players who are in this plateau here, they win. So we got big players here in this plateau, big players in this plateau. And then right as he announces it, which those people, these 2 days leading up to it, I'm sure someone knew something. At least right here, there were investors that knew something. And if we look at the end of that day leading up to it, we have a handful of people taking some major gains right before the announcement. And then it goes in the crapper. So all these people that lost money here, they just gave it up to this right there. Well, who are these people? Well, they're not us. That's who they are. We're right here. This is our retirement. It went in the shitter. So I'll probably get demonetized, but for that, that's all right. So it's really not doing well for a lot of people, and that's what that chart says. So let's look at another chart. I know we all love charts, don't we? This is small business openings. So small business openings are pretty steady, in a great economy. That should be going like this. So Trump's claim that it's been a great for small businesses. No, look at this volatility. It's insane. In and out businesses opening and closing all over the place. Well, then we get this right here. That's everybody closed shop. They did realize they weren't going to get any help right and around here, and they decided that they would try to adapt and see if they could make their business survive in the pandemic. And when those who found out they didn't are right there. Those sectors that were doing a lot stronger, like people who make masks, that those businesses are doing really well. Hand sanitizer, those businesses are doing really well. But then there are other ones that aren't, and it's kind of getting offset. So we're not seeing the full recovery. We're not seeing this comeback like that. We're seeing it go like this because no one knows what's happening. And then as no relief, no stimulus, no relief, no stimulus, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. That creates this volatility right here in people who aren't sure if they're going to open, people who are trying to stay open but end up having to close anyway. And that's what we see, just this quick death right there. So I don't know, small businesses make up a really huge sector of the economy. So for them to go in the tank like that's going to hurt. One more chart that should tell us whether we're doing well or not. This is unemployment. President Trump made the claim that the unemployment numbers were coming back, and we did see a huge return because people had to go back to work. They had no choice. They're about to be homeless. This right here is the crash. That's where everyone had to leave their jobs, and then this is where everyone's going back to work, and we can see that half of those people have no job or they can't go back, and there's probably a small percentage of people right there that are dead. So I don't know how this paints a picture to the president that everything is good, and of course it doesn't, because we all know he's full of crap. So what are we looking for this holiday? Could be looking for that. Halloween? Yeah, no, not so much. I thought maybe this Thanksgiving would be nice. It's probably not going to be that good. Maybe some old cranberries, if I can find some, maybe pick them off of a tree in the wild. So that's not going to be fun. So let's talk about something that's kind of interesting. I'm going to play a clip for you guys, and you can apply it to whatever situation you want. But it's actually in regards to the 1967 Detroit riots, and it's LBJ talking about how the American people need to be, and how the forces of evil and hate and racism need to be tackled and eliminated, not just by the average person, but by our politicians as well. So let's hear what he has to say about these riots, which are kind of similar to what's going on today.
You will suffer most from your own crimes. You will learn that there are no victors in the aftermath of violence. The apostles of violence, with their ugly drumbeat of hatred, must know that they are now heading for ruin and disaster. And every man who really wants progress, or justice, or equality, must stand against them and against their miserable virus of hate. For other Americans, especially those in positions of public trust, I have this message. Yours is the duty to bring about a peaceful change in America. If your response to these tragic events is only business as usual, you invite not only disaster but dishonor. So, my fellow citizens, let us go about our work. Let us clear the streets of rubble, and let's quench the fires that hatred set. Let us feed and care for those who have suffered at the rioters' hands. But there be no bones, or no reward, or no salutes for those who have inflicted that suffering.
I'm going to take a look at some of the pictures that were taken during the time. You think today's riots are awful? Look at this. Look at that. Count your blessings that people are as civil about the rioting as they are today. Because it wasn't always so nice. So there's been some talk about Trump and his behavior and his withdrawal from the stimulus talks and until after the election. I'm not sure if people in power really understand what's going on. And how do you make them understand? How do you make them understand? Well, if they're not going to listen to you, that's how you make them understand. So if you want to know why this stuff happens, that's why. I want to live in a place where it's not so easy to encourage people to act riotously, enraged, desperate. Our leaders need to do something. I mean, that. What else can we do? We vote. The people we vote for don't do anything. We can't vote for the people we want to because they never even make it into the public eye because they get smeared, buried, disappeared. There's no opposition as far as political voice for the American people. It's all an illusion. So Trump's denial is simply a gaffe of how all these politicians are acting right now. They need to get their act together. And yeah, we're going to get some help. They keep this up, we're going to get some help come election time because they're all going to be gone. People are going to be fed up. They're going to show up to the polls, and they're going to write in Bugs Bunny. They are just done with this. So our leaders, let me try it this way. When the United States was first formed, the reason why the colonists were so angry and wanted independence is because the king was insane and was making all kinds of decisions that just did not make sense. There was no logical rationale for it. They by and large seemed arbitrary, almost punitive. So the people just said enough is enough. And they did some really ugly things to break away from that. And I don't think we shouldn't have to do this again and again and again. It seems like we have a great idea and good people for a generation or two are passionately devoted to that idea, and then after that it just kind of becomes lip service. It's like a puppet kind of thing where people act like they care about the system and care about the people that the system is supposed to help, but then they're self-serving and their avarice gets in the way and just blinds them of what their duty is, their oath. If you don't uphold your oath to the Constitution, it's almost treasonous, in my mind. There's a public trust that's getting undermined. It's hard to get that back, and the ramifications from that are extreme. So it is a really, really bad thing, and it needs to be held to a standard of punishment that reflects how bad it is. Where ground level people are told all the time that the harsh treatment that they get in the criminal justice system is a deterrent. But then for our leaders, we have no deterrent for bad behavior and corruption in that. Nothing that's appropriate to the level that it should be. So it's like one group of people is treated extra cruel and the other half is just given a pass, and that's not right, and we'll see how that plays out. These rights or wrongs aren't just things that people class and write down on a list. This is the good things, these are the bad things. The reason why things are bad is because they don't work. They cause all kinds of other problems, and the consequences of those things are far-reaching and can get really ugly. So we really do have to act good because that's the persistent force. Good is a persistent force. It endures. Bad things don't. They force us to go away forever. So it's not a matter of whether I say things are good or bad. It's simply a matter of what are the consequences of what we are doing. And then let's say when we do those and we have these consequences that we don't like, let's call that a bad thing. Let's not put the cart in front of the horse. So I guess that's it for this episode. I really didn't talk so much about Trump's low oxygen and good drugs because we all know that his decision-making ability as far as the people are concerned have never been in their interests. So whether he's compromised or not, it doesn't really matter because he's still erratic, he's still unpredictable, he's still crazy. Just crazy. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's see. Hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he gets off these drugs. Hopefully he realizes a horrible mistake he's made, and hopefully he'll get this stimulus package passed so that the economy, we really are we need a defibrillator on the economy right now. It needs a hard shock just to get the heart beating properly. Right now it's kind of quivering and no blood is getting to the brain of our economy. And our economy's in worse shape than Trump is right now. So if one dies, they both die, essentially. Because nobody's going to have anything to do, anything with, or to care about. So that's the broken news. That's my commentary. That's my cafe take on the story of the day, I guess. It's not really the vice presidential candidate or the vice presidential debates with the fly landing on Pence's head. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. The fly. People were more interested in the fly on the vice president's head than they were any words that came out of his mouth. It's just gross. So I'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, you guys, take care.